and welcome. Tonight, Federal Executive Council sets up committee to work out plans for health programs that may be affected by policy changes by the United States aid programs. INEC tenders 5 additional bimodal voter accreditation system devices used for the last governorship election in Edo State before the State Election Petition Tribunal. Court orders interim forfeiture of digital assets valued at $222,729 linked to Chinese and Filipino nationals standing trial for cybercrimes. And US President Donald Trump agrees to immediately pause tariffs on Mexico for 1 month.
In our business, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and UPLC to ban exports of crude oil allocated for domestic use.
On sports news tonight, Marcus Rashford admits Aston Villa's constant ambition attracted him to the club after he arrived from Manchester United on a loan deal until the end of the season.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, 2 people confirmed dead, 4 others injured after a clash between the people of Rimin Sakara and the Kano State Task Force Committee on Land Enforcement.
The Federal Executive Council has set up a Transition and Sustainability Committee to work out plans for health programs that may be affected by policy changes by the United States aid programs. Now, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, outlined this decision after the Federal Executive Council meeting. He adds that $1.07 billion was also approved for the health sector reform and HIV treatment expansion. There were also approvals for projects under the Ministry of Works and the Federal Capital Territory. To the courts and in Edo, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has tendered 5 additional bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) devices used for the last governorship election in Edo State before the State Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja. The devices were tendered by a senior technical officer in the ICT department of the Commission, Mr. Anthony Todo, at the resumed sitting of the panel. Though respondents raised objections, the tribunal admitted in evidence. Now, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and its candidate in the election closed their case after calling 19 witnesses. And now to politics, where the new Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, has received hundreds of decampees from the ruling APC and the major opposition, the PDP, into its fold ahead of the 2027 governorship elections in Borno State. Receiving the new members in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, the governorship candidate of the party in the 2023 elections, Umar Nasco, says the party is now strategizing to win the state in the next elections. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, has arraigned another set of foreigners comprising Chinese and Filipino nationals before the Federal High Court in Lagos on charges of cybercrime, cyberterrorism, possession of documents containing false pretenses, identity theft, among others. The foreigners were separately arraigned before 4 justices of the court who ordered their remand at the correctional center following their not guilty pleas. Our judiciary correspondent, Shola Shueli, reports.
72 hours after the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, began the prosecution of some foreign nationals before Justice Dende Dikbeolu of the Federal High Court, Lagos, the commission was back at the same court Monday morning for the arraignment of yet another set of foreigners. This time, over 40 Chinese and Filipino nationals were arraigned before 4 justices of the court. These defendants are part of a larger group of suspected fraudsters who were arrested in December 2024 by the EFCC at their hideouts, an imposing 7-story edifice known as Big Leaf Building in Victoria Island, Lagos, following credible intelligence gathered by the Anti-Graft Agency. Before Justice Olayinka Faji, Justice Chukwujeku Aneke, Justice Dainde Dikpeolu, and Justice Alexander Oweye, they all pleaded not guilty to counts bordering on alleged cybercrimes, cyber terrorism, possession of documents containing false pretenses, and identity theft, among others. The defendants were specifically accused of secretly procuring and employing several Nigerian youths to prospect for victims online with a view to engaging them in romance scams and cryptocurrency fraud. The offences are punishable under Sections 18 and 27 of the Cybercrimes Prohibition and Prevention Act, as amended. The defendants all pleaded not guilty, and following their pleas, the court fixed trial for various dates in February and March, with the earliest trial expected to commence February 7th. The court also ordered the remand of the foreigners at the correctional center pending their trial. Shola Shoyele, Channels Television News.
Now, following the arraignment of the foreigners, Justice Alexander Oweye has ordered the interim forfeiture of digital assets valued at $222,729.86 linked to the unlawful activities of these foreigners who were arrested last December by the EFCC. The judge made the order of temporary forfeiture following an ex parte application filed and moved by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Now, the EFCC's application, moved by its counsel, Zinat Atiku, was brought pursuant to Section 44, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution and Section 17 of the Advanced Free Fraud Act 2006. After granting the order, the judge also directed the EFCC to publish it in a national newspaper to allow anyone with an interest in the assets to appear before the court within 14 days to show cause why the assets should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has arraigned a former executive secretary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, Professor Usman Yusuf, before Justice Chinyere Nwechanwu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Kuje. Professor Usman was arraigned on a 5-count charge bordering on embezzlement, conferring undue advantage, and fraud to the tune of 90 million naira. He pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to him. In view of the defendant's plea, the counsel for the EFCC, Mr. Francis Usani, prayed the court for a trial date. A counsel for the defense did not oppose the application for the trial date. However, he prayed the court to remand the defendant in the custody of the EFCC. In her ruling, the judge adjourned the matter to February the 12th this year for hearing on the bail application and then ordered that the defendant be remanded in the Kuje Correctional Facility. Let's take you back to our lead story, where the Federal Executive Council has set up a Transition and Sustainability Committee to work out plans for health programs that may be affected by policy changes by the United States aid programs. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, now reports.
It's the first Federal Executive Council meeting of the year, and the council chamber is filled to capacity. The first item of the meeting is the swearing in of some federal commissioners and permanent secretaries. 21 newly appointed members of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission take their oaths of office and are sworn in, along with a member of the Federal Character Commission and the National Population Commission. 8 former directors in the Federal Civil Service were also sworn in as permanent secretaries. The council then proceeds into a closed session for the meeting proper. After about 2 hours, some members outline key resolutions taken during the meeting.
2 projects were approved for financing, and one is for governance, to improve the governance around healthcare, primary healthcare in particular. And the other one refers to improving the governance around delivery of improving the quality of service.
A Transition and Sustainability Committee has been set up to, within the next 3 months, outline a plan to address possible effects arising from the United States policy changes to its aid to Nigeria.
I believe that the direction of the U.S. government in terms of the new policy direction on aid is not too far away from the direction that we had already been taken since December 2023 in terms of the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative and the sector-wide approach, which is national ownership, national responsibility, using our national systems, using our money, our own domestic resources, but also ensuring that it's effectively deployed and increasingly take the responsibility for the care of our people who may have HIV, malaria, TB, along with other diseases that we've been investing in.
There were also key approvals for road infrastructure across the country.
We also have one of the projects, Abuja-Lokoja. If you go through Abuja-Lokoja, you see that some of the sections of the road done by RCC and Dantata and Soho is folding. It's folding. And when they were confronted, they say it was high temperature. But that is not the truth. So we have, section that aspect and is being redone.
The rehabilitation of all Kebbi Road from Kano village to DAD by Outer Northern Expressway Junction, and is about 15 kilometers. That's here in Abuja.
Another federal executive meeting will hold on Tuesday. According to the Minister of Information, there are a lot of memos pending that need to be considered by the Council. From the Presidential Villa, Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
The Northwest Governors Forum has restated its commitment to collaborate with member states and tackle the menace of unemployment, out-of-school children, and insecurity in the region. Addressing journalists after the meeting in Abuja, the nation's capital, the chairman of the forum, Katsina State Governor Diko Rada, says the meeting dwells essentially on issues around economic development in the region as the governors received briefings from various interventions by the United Nations. Although the governors refused to entertain questions from journalists, the chairman of the forum maintains that they are committed to working together to develop the region.
Northwest Governors Forum was formed on 3 basic issues. First is to tackle the insecurity that has been happening in the Northwest, and also first economic and agricultural development of our region. And the whole of us have agreed to work together in areas of economic development, how to develop agriculture, how to address issues bordering about out-of-school children, how to address poverty level in the region, and also how to create employment for our teeming youth. So these are the focus of the administration of various states in the Northwest, and together, if we cooperate, we are going to achieve that holistically. And the whole Northwest states governors are in support of the efforts of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in most of his initiative to provide economic prosperity to our country, Nigeria.
In part 2 after the break, President Bola Tinubu signs into law a bill establishing the Federal University of Environment and Technology in Rivers. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal Executive Council sets up committee to work out plans for health programs that may be affected by policy changes by the United States aid programs. INEC tenders 5 additional bimodal voter accreditation system devices used for the last governorship election in Edo State before the State Election Petition Tribunal. Court orders interim forfeiture of digital assets valued at $222,729.86 linked to Chinese and Filipino nationals standing trial for cybercrimes. And US President Donald Trump agrees to immediately force tariffs on Mexico for 1 month. We're talking security now, where the commander of Sector 2 of the Joint Task Force of Operation Hadarindaji, Major General Ibikunle Ajose, has stated that the troops are on the verge of flushing out the Lakurawa bandits from Kebbi State. Major General Ajose made this known during a courtesy visit to Governor Nasir Idris at the government house in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi State capital. The Army Chief, who is also the General Officer commanding 8th Division of the Nigeria Army, explains that his visit is an assessment mission to evaluate the performance of his troops, particularly in Argungu and Arewa local government areas, which have recently suffered attacks by the group. Meanwhile, Governor Nasir Idris appealed to the Army to deploy additional personnel to Kebbi State.
The Chief of Defense Staff has sent me down here to discuss with the operational commanders and work out modalities of improving the security in the area. He has already mandated that the Defense Headquarters Special Operations Brigade that has commenced operation in Gudu, Tangaza, shift down to Arewa. So in the coming days, you'll see more presence of troops in that general area to ensure that the sect Lakurawa do not have any safe haven in Kebbi and Sokoto State.
Let me also use this medium to ask you to thank the CEO, because wherever we have a problem, when we place a call, he will answer the call and he will take action. That is why you can see that issue of Lakurawa infiltrated some of our, not only Ariwa, Augi is part of them, part of Bonza and the Sulu local government. But by God's grace, they are able to address all those areas. We need additional manpower, and I want to assure you that Kebbi State government is ready to partner with you to ensure that our people sleep with their two eyes closed.
The Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC, have suspended the proposed protest over the 50% increase in telecommunication tariff. The decision was taken after the labour unions met with the federal government delegation led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume. The meeting agreed to set up a 10-man committee comprising 5 members from the federal government and 5 from the NLC to review the study by the Commission and then submit its report within 2 weeks. The President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Mr. Joe Ajero, adds that the labour unions will wait till the outcome of the committee to determine its next line of action.
The NLC is the largest organization in the whole of Africa, and there is no consultation of stakeholders that does not include us that will stand. It was on that premise that they now agreed to have a larger committee to look at the entire tariff structure and model and to come up with a realistic and an all-inclusive agreement. So the committee will be made up of 5 from both sides, and expected to come up with a result after 2 weeks. That will determine the next line of action and the process of engagement. The symbolic action of submitting the letters tomorrow will be put on hold until the outcome of such committee. The outcome of such committee is what will determine our next line of action in terms of protest, in terms of boycott, in terms of even withdrawal of services, which are the 3 issues we put online. But I will equally use this opportunity of this meeting to put in our displeasure on the electricity tariff and the tax that is killing the workers now. The tax regime, which is unbearable.
And to some cheery news for the people of Ogoni in Rivers State, where President Bola Tinubu has signed into law the Federal University of Environment and Technology Ogoni Land Establishment Bill. The signing ceremony had in attendance the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, the Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, a delegation of Ogoni leaders, and other top government officials. While commending the Ogoni delegation for their steadfast advocacy for justice in a peaceful manner, President Tinubu said signing the bill into law is a decisive step towards addressing historical grievances.
The protocol will help us to organize the photo session.
Today marks a significant milestone in our national journey towards environmental justice, education, and sustainable development. Ogoni has been in the forefront of our development and agitation, and has suffered environmental degradation true enough to bring knowledge into that environment. In that area, to me, is the most significant thing, as you've heard from the Ministry of Education. It's more than the creation of a university. It is reaffirmation of our unwavering commitment to the people of Ogoni, the Niger Delta, and the entire nation as a whole. For decades, the Ogoni people have been at the forefront of fight for environmental restoration and sustainable development, shaping both national and global conversation on these critical issues. By signing this bill into law, we are taking a decisive step towards addressing historical grievances and creating new opportunities for learning, growth, and prosperity.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu. Now to Enugu State, where Governor Peter Mbah has reinstated the willingness of his administration to welcome any genuine partnership with both local and foreign investors in all sectors and subsectors of the state economy, re-echoing that Enugu is open for business and investment. Governor Mbah stated this when he received in his office the Consul General and Head of Trade of the People's Republic of Denmark, Ms. Jet Bergero, to discuss collaboration in agricultural value chain environment, food technology, and renewable energy. While listing areas of possible partnership with the Danish government, Governor Mbah described agriculture as a veritable sector for economic growth and development. Earlier in her remarks, the Consul General of the People's Republic of Denmark stated that she was in Enugu to seek areas of constructive and possible partnership with the Enugu state government in order to create jobs and grow the state's economy.
We have a prosperity in Denmark. It's supported by our Prime Minister and our Foreign Minister. So Denmark has decided to do more on the continent. And in that plan, Nigeria luckily takes up a lot of space because everybody acknowledged the fact of Nigeria in scale and the member states and the work that's going on in the states. So for us, timing has never been better. All eyes on what's happening here, and then also for the Danish community in business and for the investors to understand how they understand the space here, the market, and the priorities that we have.
We have over 300,000 secured as land and for agriculture. So just as Denmark, agriculture is also aligned to 40% of our economy is predicated on agriculture. We have put in place a lot of frameworks and this sector. We're not only just interested in creating an enabling environment, we're also more than happy to have our skin in the game where it's necessary to help the investor to risk certain element of the investment. It could be finance, it could be technical, it could be sometimes commercial.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the NUPRC, to ban export of crude oil allocated for domestic use. That's in business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. We begin with Kano State, where 2 people have been confirmed dead and 4 others injured by gunshots following a clash between the people of Rimin Zakara and the Kano State Task Force Committee on Land Enforcement from the Kano Ministry of Land and Urban Planning. Members of the community who spoke to Channel Television said the task force arrived on Sunday night and began demolishing their homes. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu reports.
The people of Rimin Zakara community woke up to the terrifying news of the death of some of their brothers following a demolition exercise by the Kano State government.
We are here in Rimin Zakara, a community close to Bayero University, Kano, here in northwest Nigeria. Yesterday, a demolition exercise began, and it has resulted to a clash between the people in the community and authorities, and this has resulted to loss of lives.
This is the family of one of the deceased. They are now mourning the death of their breadwinner.
He has a wife and 2 children. Now he is dead and no one to take care of them.
In another family, a 20-year-old man was also shot dead. His father and other family members are calling for justice.
If there is no justice here, God is surely just, but I will not forgive them for killing my son.
They offer prayers seeking divine intervention. However, they vow to seek justice through legal means.
And we cannot guarantee that we can continue to calm down our people or to stop them while their lives, their precious life is being taken. And I repeat it without fear of being contradiction, that as long as this issue is allowed to go unheeded, the call of our people, at least allow justice to take its course.
They claim to have a court order stopping the authorities from carrying out the demolition.
Because the matter before with Bayero University has been pending almost 5 years ago. But this one, since we heard about the issue of the involvement of Kano State government, that is why we rushed and filed another case against Kano State government and Ministry of Land and Kanubda. That is why we obtained the order restraining Kano State government from demolition. But notwithstanding that, Kano State government disregarded the order.
Meanwhile, the public relations officer of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, who confirmed the incident, says a mob attacked the task force, leading to the clash.
Yes, of course, the NSCDC received a joint invitation from the Kano State Ministry of Land and Fiscal Planning, and of course, the authorities or management of the Bayero University, Kano. The personnel of the NSCDC deployed to provide security cover and ensure a hitch-free demolition exercise acted in accordance with the law.
However, the community continues to mourn their losses as they pursue legal action against the demolition. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Coca-Cola franchise bottler Nigeria Bottling Company Limited has unveiled a packaging collection hub to tackle plastic waste challenges in Lagos. The company says the facility, a landmark initiative in Nigeria's plastics recycling infrastructure, has the capacity to process up to 13,000 metric tons of plastic bottles annually. The Nigeria Bottling Company Limited takes its campaign against poor disposal of plastic wastes a notch higher with the launch of its new packaging collection hub in Apapa area of Lagos. The facility serves as a center for gathering post-consumption polyethylene plastic bottles, otherwise referred to as PET bottles. Nigeria Bottling Company Limited believes there is the urgent need to create solutions to the challenges that the world is facing with single-use plastics.
This hub is supporting waste reduction while at the same time providing food-grade feedstock to produce recycled plastic bottles. Beyond its environmental impact, the hub will generate jobs, empower waste collectors, and support a cleaner environment.
Today's ceremony symbolizes our dedication to advancing Nigeria's recycling infrastructure. This hub is the first of 6 planned facilities as part of a multi-year, 7-year strategic plan. It can process up to 13,000 metric tons of plastic bottles annually.
This initiative by the non-alcoholic beverage manufacturing firms receives commendation from the federal and Lagos state governments for creating a sustainable environment and wealth generation opportunities for Nigerians.
Industry drives growth. Without industry and industrialization, there's no development. So all of these are so many things into one. I mean, employment creation, value addition. And you can go on and on.
For us as Lagos State Government and as Lagos Waste Management Authority, it's a significant step because for health and environment, we need to stop throwing our PET bottles into the waste. We need to separate them at source and then deliver them to a facility like this.
With the packaging collection hub in full operation, Nigeria Bottling Company Limited believes an environment-friendly and prosperous country is guaranteed. But that's it from the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to Ayo in Lagos.
Thanks so much, Gloria. Kelloggs Nigeria Limited, makers of the world's breakfast cereal brand here in Nigeria, has rewarded winners of this edition of its Superstar Scholarship Essay Competition in Lagos. The company says it will keep celebrating children through the intellectual contest in order to bring out the talents in them.
It's the 6th edition of the Kelloggs Superstar Scholarship Essay Competition, and present to witness the event are management of the Kelloggs parents and the children themselves. The scholarship awards, which started in 2019, serves as a reward for intellectual prowess exhibited through writing by participants in the annual essay writing contests.
I must say the essay topic, Breakfast to Greatness, is very germane, very important, very crucial to the development of children.
We should validate our children more. Take that away from this place as one of the things that Kellogg is doing, and be open. Let your children be able to explain to you stress, bullying, self-esteem issue, confusion, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. All of these things are so common among these children. Please get close to them so you understand what they are going through.
The event also affords some of the children an opportunity to express themselves intellectually.
Some of my ideas and solutions were born during breakfast. By eating Kellogg's Superstar, we equip ourselves to take on the day with confidence.
As winners are handed 150,000 naira each.
The best my generation ever seen. I can solve the everyday capable. I never sense, I never miss. I'm the smashing, I'm beginning everything. From the kitchen to what you will let to the many places that I
it's always a good thing for us to bring kids together, to celebrate their achievements, to celebrate their progress, and to tell their teachers that you have stars in your school. And as we do this, we pray that every instrument we need to continue, God will grant it unto us.
They, however, express appreciation and identify some nutritional benefits from Kellogg's range of nourishing products.
I say thank you to Kelloggs for giving me this opportunity to win.
Kelloggs should keep it up, and they're doing a great job.
Kelloggs can give us vitamin A, vitamin B, C, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, and vitamin C. It also gives energy.
With the hosting of this year's edition of Kellogg Superstar Scholarship Essay Competition, the company has once again restated its commitment to continue impacting the lives of Nigerian children positively.
Well, let's now find out what's happening in the world of business with Will Ebo. Will?
Thank you, Ayotunde. A lot going on in the oil and gas space here. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, says it will no longer approve export permits for crude oil cargoes meant for domestic refineries. The regulator, who made this known in a statement, insists all companies must meet their domestic supply obligations before selling crude abroad. The NUPRC Chief Executive, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe, warns that any changes to cargoes designated for local refining must first be approved. He says both oil producers and refiners must comply with the rules to avoid disruptions in Nigeria's energy supply. Citing the Petroleum Industry Act, Mr. Komolafe says the Commission has put strict measures in place to enforce compliance. He warns that crude meant for local refining must not be diverted, and any violations will be met with regulatory action. Now to some company news. O&O PLC has released its unaudited financial results for full year 2024 with a revenue increase to 4.1 trillion naira compared to 2.9 trillion naira in full year 2023. The company's profit after tax for full year 2024 stands at 65.5 billion naira, up from 60.3 billion naira in 2023. In production, O&O's exit production increased by 46%, reaching 30,712 barrels of oil equivalent per day in 2024, compared to 21,036 barrels of oil equivalent per day in 2023. Average production also saw a 3% rise, reaching 23,911 barrels of oil equivalent per day in 2024, up from 23,258 in 2023. The Group Chief Executive of O&O, Mr. Wale Tinubu, attributes the growth to the successful acquisition and integration of NAOC Limited, which boosted the company's peak operated production to 103,206 billion barrels per day, net entitlements to 45,000. Looking ahead to 2025, O&O's focus will be on cost optimization, improving operational efficiency, leveraging technology, and addressing security challenges through a revamped security framework. Now let's take a peek at the domestic stock market now, where bullish sentiments were sustained from Friday's close to kick off February on a positive note. Inijan Mekwa has the details.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. For the very first trading day in the month of February, we see MTN making the news today. It opened at 250 naira, but closed at 253 naira. That's a gaining 3 naira 10 kobo at the close of trade. Almost the only positive news that we have coming from a major stock at the close of today's trade. Looking at the sectors now, we know that on Friday, FBN Holding was the only gain now when you look at the figures, perhaps because of its impressive result, but it does seem like investors are taking profit on it. So we see FBN holding UBA Zenith Bank down today, and that has driven the banking counter down 0.4%. Consumer goods is also down 0.61% because of Honeywell, Flour, Cadbury, PZ, and Nigerian Breeze has been, on the negative side in the last couple of days. Oil and gas, I don't know if you've seen that O&O result. That is a driver of this counter, 0.02% at the close of trade today. And all of this obviously is captured in the all share index. And looking at the color for today, it's green, 0.13% because of mostly MTN. And then you have that O&O move sustaining the 104,000 level that it gained intraday. And of course, the market cap is still around 64 trillion naira. It's the first trading day in February, and the bull has taken over.
And that's a wrap on business. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Will. President Donald Trump says the U.S. will definitely impose trade tariffs on the EU after announcing them on Canada, Mexico, and China. The 25% import tax on goods from Canada and Mexico and 10% on goods from China begin on Tuesday, February the 4th. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump says the US will definitely impose trade tariffs on the EU after announcing them on Canada and China. The 25% import tax on goods from Canada and 10% on goods from China begin on Tuesday. However, Mexico earlier announced that Mr. Trump would pause tariffs for 1 month with the country after he and Claudia Sheinbaum agreed a border deal. Stock markets fell in Asia during Monday's trading, while European markets dropped shortly after opening, with car makers particularly affected. While saying the EU would be the next place US tariffs would be placed on, the US president suggested a deal could be worked out with the UK.
We'll see how things work out. It might happen with them, but it will definitely happen with the European Union. I can tell you that, because they've really taken advantage of us. And, we have over a $300 billion deficit. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They take almost nothing. And we take everything from them, millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. So the UK is way out of line, and we'll see the UK, but European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure I think that one can be worked out. But the European Union it's an atrocity. Well, Prime Minister Starmer has been very nice. We've had a couple of meetings. We've had numerous phone calls. We're getting along very well. We'll see whether or not we can balance out our budget. With the European Union, it's a $350 billion deficit. So obviously something's going to take place there.
At least 15 people, 14 of them women, have been killed in a car bomb attack in a vehicle transporting agricultural workers in northern Syria. Another 15 women were wounded by the blast on the outskirts of the city of Manbij, east of Aleppo. According to the Syria Civil Defense Agency, it said some of the wounded were in a critical condition and warned that the death toll would rise. There was no immediate claim from any armed group for the bombing, which was the deadliest since the rebel forces overthrew President Bashar al-Assad in December. US President Donald Trump has said he will cut all future funding to South Africa over allegations that it was confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. Last month, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law a bill that allows land seizures without compensation in certain circumstances. Land ownership has long been a contentious issue in South Africa, with most private farmland owned by white people, 30 years after the end of the racist system of apartheid. There have been contentious calls for the government to address land reform and deal with the past injustices of racial segregation.
Díganos qué pasó cuando usted sube al podio.
Jenny Hermoso has told the trial of Spain's former football chief, Luis Rubiales, that the kiss he gave her at the 2023 World Cup stained one of the happiest days of my life. The Spanish world champion footballer was the first witness in Rubiales' trial over the kiss, where he is accused of sexual assault and coercion. Rubiales sparked major controversy when he kissed the athlete on the lips during the medal ceremony for the side's World Cup victory in Australia, triggering protests and calls for his resignation. He denies any wrongdoing. Hermoso told the court she had never given permission to be kissed and felt disrespected as a woman. Australian authorities are scrambling to help isolated communities in Queensland after a flooding emergency forced thousands of evacuations, cut power to homes and washed away sections of a vital highway. The flooding has claimed a woman's life and caused havoc across the state's north, with residents in Townsville, Ingham and Cardwell among the hardest hit. Record downpours are set to continue, authorities say, with parts of the region already experiencing almost 1.3 metres of rain since Saturday, causing rivers and reservoirs to overflow. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who was briefed about the response efforts on Monday, said that the disaster had brought out the best of Australians. And Beyoncé has taken home 3 Grammy Awards in Los Angeles, including Best Album. The star was recognized for her 8th album, Cowboy Carter, which celebrates and contextualizes the black roots of country music.
Cowboy Carter.
She also won the Grammy for Best Country Album, to her evident surprise, in an announcement from Taylor Swift. Her haul of 35 trophies, won over more than 2 decades, makes her the most decorated artist in Grammy history.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Sports News is up next with Chris Illems. Chris.
Thank you, Ayo. Welcome to Sports News. Ivorian football legend and former Chelsea star Didier Drogba has paid a courtesy visit to the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the Lagos House Marina. Drogba's visit was linked to E1 Racing, the world's first electric powerboat championship, which aims to promote sustainable water sports and environmental awareness. Lagos has been positioning itself as a hub for sports tourism and eco-friendly initiatives, making E1 Racing's involvement in the state's future development a potential game changer.
I think I can help have a stronger impact on the continent. So wherever it is for sustainability or even for sports and for inspiration, we're here to inspire the youth, to inspire our elders to say, yes, it's possible. What you see abroad in Europe or in America, you can have it here.
We see this as another unique opportunity to tell the Lagos story, but in a sustainable manner, and that's why we're also really, truly excited. On the waterways, we've been working with the French Development Bank, for example. We're changing all of our, ferries. We're changing a whole lot of them to EVs, to electric, boats.
Nigeria forward Chuba Akpom has signed for Lille on loan with an option to buy after the French side reached an agreement with Dutch giant Ajax Amsterdam. Akpom will bolster coach Bruno's option up front as Mohamed Bayo left to join Belgium Pro League Royal Antwerp, while Jonathan David will be out of contract next June. The 29-year-old will feature in the Champions League as Lille have already booked their tickets for the round of 16. And Marcus Rashford has admitted that Aston Villa's constant ambition attracted him to the club after he arrived from Manchester United on a loan deal until the end of the season. He has not played for United since mid-December last year after falling out of favour with manager Ruben Amorim. The 27-year-old said the club's ambition and the prospect of playing in Europe's top competition persuaded him to make the switch to Birmingham. Aston Villa has an option to buy the forward for $49 million.
Excited.
it's an ambitious time for this club, and a great opportunity for me to join the team and help them keep pushing forward. So I'm excited, can't wait for the first training session and obviously the first game. It's the constant ambition that's attractive, and it's why you want to join such a club. You want to keep improving year on year, and that's what the team's been doing and are doing this year.
That sports is back to you, Ayo.
And the main news again. The Federal Executive Council has set up a committee to work out plans for health programs that may be affected by policy changes by the United States aid programs. And we also told you that INEC has tendered 5 additional bimodal voter accreditation system devices used for the last governorship election in Edo State before the State Election Petition Tribunal. That's news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde. From all of us here, have a good night.